size. If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know I should be. 'Cause honestly,
Hi everyone, I am here to share a journal that I made for my good friend Wendy Connors Beckett. And as many of you may know, she is an amazing artist. She paints, she quilts, not like the fake quilting I do, but the real stuff. She is so talented and so artistic, and of course makes just drop dead gorgeous junk journals. So I made this for her, and this picture has always reminded me of Wendy. It's a Norman Rockwell, and I'd only found it in larger sizes. It's still under copyright, so you can't copy it onto your computer and manipulate it and make it smaller. And then I finally found a copy of this image that would fit on a junk journal. And I have actually spent the last half of this year collecting things to go into this journal, and it has ended up being this monstrosity. It's probably the fattest, chunkiest journal I've made. So I will take you through it, and it's awkward. I've never flipped through a journal quite like this before, so bear with me. I have sari silk ties and sari in the tassel, and I loved the colors that went with this. My challenge to myself was to use my normal tea-dyed, antique, vintagey feeling colors and work the primary colors of the color wheel or the crayon box into it, and that was my goal. So with the sari, I love this. This had spots on it, almost like it had been splattered by paint in an artist's studio, was the impression it gave me. So I really liked the spots, and I ended up using this skein of sari. The tassel I actually made in the tutorial for the little spools of thread on YouTube, so you can find that there if you're wondering how I made that. And those that I made in that video were actually for Wendy's tassel. So I'm going to set this aside, and that might make this a little easier to flip through. I found a great charm, and I don't know if I can get the light to catch it. These are little gemstones with the colors in the palette, and I called it the Artist's Journal. And it's a soft cover. It's flexible, and it is 9 by 6 with a 2-inch spine, so the same size that I make my larger journals with, except that they're usually 5 inches wide, and this is 6. And it's burgeoning, and it really wants to come open. And I did the muslin tabs on top. It was so busy everywhere else. So let's go inside. In theory, the journal lays flat, except there's so much in it. I doubt I will get it to lay flat in the flip through. For the paper inside the covers, I used my Graphic 45 stash of typography paper, and I thought that was great because it had artsy things in it, including those primary colors, my favorite crayon box colors. And I sewed in a little tag here that says "Draw outside the lines." And in the pocket, it says "A creative themed journal for Wendy Darling." That's my nickname for Wendy. Wendy Darling was the last name of the children in Peter Pan, and of course that was Wendy's last name. The first time I called her Wendy Dear, that went to Wendy Darling, and it's kind of stuck ever since. So I used a number of digis in this. I have a digi called the Painter's Studio, and that seemed to be appropriate. And some more buttons. I did washies and digi. The tabs, the textile tabs, are in the order of kind of red, orange, yellow, green, blue as well. It's a little bit hard to see that as you go through it because the pages pop open and they're not in an even line unless you squish them together and look. I have the sketches of Leonardo da Vinci throughout it too, and I've done a lot of index cards with little sari silk tabs, some Tim Holtz artistic tools stamped on there. Leonardo da Vinci, where the spirit does not work with the hand, there is no art. He was profound. I have quotes by different artists, mostly painters, but not all painters, all the way through. Another index card with my little, I can't, Tracy Fox has ruined me. I can't use a paper clip anymore without curling the end of it. I'm even doing it in my office. I have a little pair of pliers to curl the end of them, so even things that are going in my file cabinet now have a little twist on the paper clip. Thank you, Tracy. This is a Van Gogh sketch from the third Van Gogh Digi in my shop. It was all of his sketches rather than paintings. And there's some stenciling. This is the first of 3 what I call Wendy booklets, because Wendy did the tutorial on how to make these, and I just thought it was brilliant. One of my problems with using Rockwell's pictures is that they're not the right size to use on the covers or inside, and once she did this, I immediately knew that I would be able to just use some muslin binding and layer the covers front and back and start using these. So that's a self-portrait of Rockwell, and you know what? I'm going to grab my glasses so I can actually read what I'm showing you. All right, I can see. Yes. Face for the Blank Canvas, 1938. This was the cover on the Saturday Evening Post. So I just filled this with random tea-dyed paper inside, and that is my first Wendy booklet. I used some washi. This is Jane Davenport washi. Love her stuff. And some stenciling. Put some little words on in each of the dangles. This says "Choose to Shine." Some Tim Holtz Crazy Birds on an index card, and of course this is from the Tim Holtz fabric of oh gosh, it was one of his first, I can't believe the name is not coming to me, one of his first paper stashes, and I've got some fabric, some more stenciling. This is a Van Gogh sketch and a stamped index card. Gosh, and the sun has gone out again. I hope the light is good on this. I'll try to boost it when I do the editing. This first lace tab, it's got a little charm that says, "I love crafting." Picasso painting is just another way of keeping a diary. So that's the end of the first signature. And oh, there's my clothespin. I'm just going to clip this open. These are some sketches of chairs that Van Gogh did, and I always think of the oranges and yellows with Van Gogh with a little red put in, so a little bit of sari silk stitched there, and another journaling card. I do love those index cards. They're all tea-dyed. The emotions are sometimes so strong that I work without knowing it. The strokes come like speech. Van Gogh. There's a lot of wonderful quotes by him. And this is one of his sketches. I put it on a canvas pocket with a button. And there's some stitching on some more sari silk in back of that. This is a little Van Gogh booklet that I did. And the back has a button card on it, stitched onto it with my Van Gogh colors, or what makes me think of Van Gogh colors, and a little index card in the pocket there on the back cover. And this paper is Graphic 45's Botanica Bella, which I always associate also with Van Gogh because of the color scheme. And inside there are tea-dyed pages with little Van Goghs. I love the sunflowers. He did quite a few sunflowers. And this is another Van Gogh called First Steps, the little baby walking towards the father in the garden. And a tiny little tea-dyed tag there with some paintbrushes stamped on it. Those are Tim Holtz as well. And in the middle of this, then I stitched in a tea-dyed index card with some Van Gogh little tag that says, "It's never too late to find out who you want to be." And this was his bedroom at St. Remy, which was the place he checked himself into when he was having some emotional problems and such. And this was the postman who used to deliver mail there that he painted. I'm thinking he had a good association because of the, I don't know, the flowers, the brightness around this man that he painted. He did several sketches and paintings of him and other people there at St. Remy. This is a night cafe. He did a lot of stars in the sky, aside from his famous Starry Night. In the last page, he also did a number of paintings of shoes. So, and another paintbrush tag there. So that is the little Van Gogh. I'm going to put this back together as I go through it, because I think if I left these to the side, I would never find where they all go again. Here's another tea-dyed index card. And there's several paintings or photos of famous painters in here. And for those, I put them in as just inserts. And on the back, I just made a note of who it is. This was Degas in his studio. Edmund. I think it's Edward. The one who did all the wonderful ballerina and theater paintings that I like so much. This is the second Wendy booklet in the journal, and it was so big that it needed paper clips top and bottom. And yeah, I'm curling those too. So this is another Rockwell, and it's called The Art Critic. And obviously this guy's a painter. I just did some extra stitching. There's an artist with an easel on the back. This is some text about the story behind Norman Rockwell. And again, inside I've just put a few things in the center. I love that painting. That's also in my Painter Studio set, and this painting was called The Connoisseur. And just various other tea-dyed pages in here. Another Rockwell. on the inside covers. So that is the Art Critic. The picture, I didn't want to trim it any more than I already did, so it came out the same height as the pages, and I really just don't know how to attach it into the book aside from pinning it top and bottom. It's another Van Gogh, and inside is a photograph of Alex Serov, a Russian painter. Oh, there's a charm. That one is a sewing machine, an antique sewing machine. And this is my Da Vinci page. It's got a quote by Da Vinci and, of course, the Vitruvian Man. And it dangles for this signature are butterflies, and it says, "Use your wings." Another sketch by Da Vinci. And just a tea-dyed index card with a sorry tab on it. These shiny sari silks are called lurex, and they iron out so pretty. They're wonderful embellishment. If I could like sari silk even more than I do now. Even more than I did. Here is a church sketched by Van Gogh, and in it I've put a crazy cat because all Wendy journals need some Leo in them. This is a little Da Vinci. Let's bear with me here. If I lose my place, I'm in real trouble with this. This is a Da Vinci. That's a self-portrait of Da Vinci, and just for fun, I left all the tails on this one, and it's a self-portrait. And I got a little Tim Holtz paper clip. And again, this is the Botanica Bella paper from Graphic 45. So inside I've got sketches and drafting. Da Vinci was also an engineer. He had a lot of technical things that he did. Another Jane Davenport washi. Some really pretty sari on that tab. And I did the muslin tabs on the top of this too. Little flashcard that says genre and a Da Vinci sketch of a knight on a horse. And here's another Da Vinci sketch, and inside is a small index card with a little tag and a tuck spot there. Stamp that says it's all perspective. And this is display, and on the back page there is a index card, and this is his sketch of the warrior, and there's a little tag here, and the washi is the periodic table of elements. Since Da Vinci was also considered a scientist and an engineer, I thought that that was appropriate for a little Da Vinci book. Okay, and this And that's the end of the second signature. Cats playing in the paints. I wonder if Leo ever gets into Wendy's craft supplies, as involved as he is with her videos. I would imagine that he's pretty familiar with her art room. It's a cup of pencils. That's Vermeer in the studio. Another Van Gogh sketch, and just an index card and such. Threw in a guest check with a Da Vinci kitty. Love Those Crazy Cats by Tim Holtz. And, oh, let me show you this. I found another charm of a palette. I really do love these owl clips. I think it's just a regular office supply, but they're wonderful for putting the dangles off the page. And this is Inspire. Edgar Degas. That was his first name, Edgar. I was close. I knew it started with an Ed. And this little dangle says The Scenic Route. Some more fabulous quotes. Oh, I should know her name. She was a court, this is a self-portrait. She was a court painter for the French court. Her first name was Elizabeth. The last name started with a V. Oh, yeah, I'm drawing a blank on everything. I need a cheat sheet to do these videos. I'll be more well prepared next time. Okay, it's another Van Gogh. There's a tea-dyed index card and some sari. This charm is a ball of yarn with knitting needles stuck through it. And that's the end of the third signature. There is a Da Vinci sketch in here. I love this digi of the little boy with double-fisted paintbrushes. Brushes and easel. And another Van Gogh sketch with some brushes here. And the stencil says Dream. I love that quote. It took me 4 years to paint like Raphael, but it took me a lifetime to paint like a child. And here is the third Wendy book. I love this one. He's using her raincoat as a palette, and she's got the beret on. The paint's here. What fun. And some more Norman Rockwell on the back. There's the dictionary page with easel there, with the painter at the easel. I actually found something art related to put in there. And these are just more tea-dyed pages, music paper, maps, little lined paper and such. So that is my third Wendy booklet. Oh my gosh, I took them out and put them back in. I'm so happy that that went well. He looks so sad. I'm sure there's a fabulous story behind that painting. I'm going to have to look it up. And here is the tea-dyed card. And another painter, Charles Russell. It's a photograph. And another tea-dyed card. I love this this washi. It's all artistic things, and it's Jane Davenport as well, but it's all black and white. So anybody who uses those gorgeous markers or inks or watercolors to color things in, you can actually paint your own washi. This middle, the dangles say perspective on this one. Creativity is contagious, pass it on. Albert Einstein. There's Michelangelo, Georgia O'Keeffe. Here's another artist. I'm not even going to try to pronounce, well, I will. Artur Timoteo da Costa. My apologies if that's your last name and I axed that. The different kinds of paints on the different mediums, charcoals, pastels on the index, flashcards rather. And another Van Gogh, Cafe. Yeah, I'm not even going to try that. She is a Ukrainian painter and sculptor, and has a studio quite full of people. And of course, what journal would be complete without Leo? See if you can see that. The sun keeps coming and going. I'm not quite sure how well the angle is going to come out with the light on that, but I have, I found some kitty cat charms, and this is the ginger cat, ginger and white, and of course that reminds me of Leo. Another Van Gogh. Just a pretty piece of sari there. And that's the same painter whose last name I couldn't remember, Elizabeth. Starts with a V. It's on the edge of my mind. I'll remember it as soon as I turn off the video. Fabulous digi of a woman painting in Victorian or Edwardian dress. And the inside back cover is Monet. Renoir and Monet were BFFs. They painted together, they painted each other, and these are both paintings of Monet by Renoir. And another little pocket on a tea-dyed index card with sari, and Hassam, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, fabulous painter. And that's a photo of him painting in 1903. So that is the art journal. And it really has a hard time even wanting to stay closed on the desk. But I will get this off to Wendy. It took much longer than I had anticipated, so I'm still hoping that I can get this into the mail and get this to her by Christmas, by the holiday, hoping certainly it will come over the holiday and such. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And thanks for joining me today. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
'Cause honestly I don't have no time to waste. I'm trying to come back to you because now I see we were meant